North Idaho College proudly presents NIC Today, an informational news magazine that highlights the people, programs, and campus life at North Idaho College and the surrounding community. And now, your host and moderator, President of North Idaho College, Dr. Joe Dunlap.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to North Idaho College Today. This is the program that brings you insights into the programs and the people at North Idaho College. And today we have some very special guests with us. We have Gayne Clifford, who is Divisional Chair for Business Programs at North Idaho College. We have Steve Trabun, who is with Avista Corporation and is the individual behind developing an entrepreneurship network in the Northwest. And we have Mike Allen, who is an instructor in the North Idaho College Entrepreneurship Program and City Councilman from Spokane. So welcome, the three of you. We're glad to have you.
Thanks, Joe.
And then as usual, I've got Mark Browning with us today, and Mark is our Vice President for Governmental Affairs and Marketing. So Mark, welcome. Glad to have you here as well.
Thanks,
so Steve, why don't we start with you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about the genesis of the Avista Integrated Business Entrepreneurship Program, how it came about, and then how it came to North Idaho College.
Great. Well, thanks, Joe, for having me. I think it's probably important just to share that Avista is very interested, as we have a three-state service territory, in helping to develop new businesses and create jobs throughout our service territory, because that helps the communities be more economically healthy and vibrant. And so as part of that strategy, in 2011, when we were 3 years into the worst recession of our country's history, we saw an opportunity to leverage an entrepreneurship education curriculum that had been developed by Spokane Community College and replicate that across our service territory. And so we approached 3 additional community colleges, including North Idaho College here in Coeur d'Alene, Walla Walla Community College in Clarkston, Washington, and Rogue Community College in Medford, Oregon, and asked them if they'd be interested in incorporating an entrepreneurship curriculum in their community colleges. And all 3, without hesitation, were very interested. I think the time was right. They all have their own business programs, but they all had been considering incorporating an entrepreneurship curriculum, and so the time was right. We had, back in 2007, invested or made a contribution of $100,000 to Spokane Community College to help seed the creation of their program. And so because of the incredible success that they've had in creating a unique program that is much more practical in nature, less academic focused, and very much leveraging resources from the community to deliver subject matter expertise, we thought we could license their curriculum and share that with these other community colleges, at which we did, along with making similar contributions to those organizations. And so NIC, we made a $100,000 commitment over 3 years to help you seed your program, and the North Idaho Community College Foundation made a matching contribution of $100,000 over the next 5 years to help with program support and scholarships for students so that we can make sure students can afford to go through the program. So with that, we now have 4 community colleges and actually a consortium of high schools in the Spokane area that are delivering entrepreneurship education programs. And so it's one major element of what I call the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
And it's a fantastic program. And part of the rationale, which you explained earlier to me, was that the majority of businesses in the United States have 50 employees or less. And so to grow the economy in a local or regional effort, it would make sense to encourage entrepreneurs to create other small businesses.
Absolutely. 96% of all the companies in our country have fewer than 50 employees, and to be thinking about creating small startup businesses that then have the ability to compound and grow in terms of the number of employees, I mean, that's great growth. And in fact, Spokane Community College over 6 years has had 140 students go through their program, 70% completion rate, over 40 businesses started, and over 50 direct jobs created. And so, every direct job in our region creates almost an additional job as well from an economic multiplier.
Well, that's fantastic, and we really appreciate Avista's support and your involvement and your vision and persistence and tenacity to get this thing going. So thank you,
But
Steve.
it's a partnership with North Idaho College as well as the other community colleges that has really made this come together, and we're really excited about the delivery of your program here in January.
You bet. Well, Gayne, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the program came to North Idaho College and a little bit about how it's going to be launched here.
Okay, Joe, thanks. Steve's proposal to us back in May of 2012 came at exactly the right time. We were just looking at that time about the possibility of bringing some type of small business management program into our curriculum. The proposal that Avista brought to us for this entrepreneurship program fit very well as a part of our business administration degree that we already offer at North Idaho College, and an extension to that degree. So this gave us an opportunity to look at the curriculum that they had developed at Spokane Community College, modify that curriculum a little bit so that it fit with some of the things we were doing here, and give the students an opportunity to channel their small business management desires into the entrepreneurship, and at some point in time they'll be able to extend that into a full-fledged Associate of Science degree in our business administration program. So the timing was just perfect from our perspective.
Gayne, how much work was there? And you say adjust that curriculum, but businesses here in our area, they really don't see borders. I mean, businesses in North Idaho do business in Eastern Washington and vice versa. So to give students that base from which they can then go out and get into a business and be successful, how much did you have to bridge between the two?
Well, it was we blended some of the things we were doing in our current business administration program with the curriculum that had been developed at Spokane Community College. Spokane Community College has taken a little different approach, and it works for them. They have a cohort where everybody enters the program and goes through it together. We wanted to look at a couple different demographics in North Idaho to give students, either the traditional students, the non-traditional students, or people already involved with a business, an opportunity to get in and develop a skill set that they would be successful either in the business they were in or as they moved out in opening a small business. And so we took the basic curriculum that was at SCC, and we just kind of tweaked that to fit in the programs, and Mike will talk about that as we start taking a look at the programs.
I was going to say that's where Mike comes in then.
I think so, yeah.
Nice segue. I'm really excited about this program here at NIC, and thank you to Avista as well for seeding this program. In some of the other roles, we always look at how much effort is spent recruiting businesses into an area where in the long run, it's the businesses you could generate in your community are the ones that make the difference in the long run. So really excited about that. I've taught this class at Eastern and at Whitworth, and I'm able to take what I learned there, pair it with some of the stuff SEC has done. And it really kind of comes down to four pieces you have to look at with any business. What's the need, what's the size of the need or your market size, why you have the solution, and how you're going to deliver it. And that's really how the curriculum is developed. And I'll kind of get into that real quick on slide 5. The first class we offer is a 105 class on entrepreneurship. It really focuses in on the entrepreneur himself and understanding what it takes to be an entrepreneur, both from the personality test, and we'll do Myers-Briggs testing. We will go through creative solutions and thinking creatively. We will look at different efforts on how you team build and build coalitions, as well as building your own presentation skills. You have to be able to go out there and sell your idea. The next class in the curriculum, there's a total of 5 classes in the curriculum to earn the certificate for the program that's been developed here, is the entrepreneurship opportunity analysis, understanding the market for your potential product, where it could go, how you can deliver it, what channels do you have? Do you deliver it via internet? Are you going to open a corner store? Do you go globally? All those pieces that go into it, studying the 4 P's of marketing as well. And I will say, this program has really also been designed for the practitioner. I mean, you don't have to be a massive business, deep into business, and to be able to come into this program and be successful. I actually had a peace student at Whitworth, and wasn't sure peace was actually a degree, but it was. And she won the competition one year. So it takes the basic skills of business and allows you to apply them to your idea. So the financial management class is really designed that way. It really focuses in on understanding the business finance of what it takes to start up, cash flow needs, what your startup costs are, how you do your bookkeeping, how your personal finances tie into it, exit strategies potentially as you go through the business, and understanding those overall financial components, because that's probably the area people most get stuck in, is understanding what cash flow you're really going to need to be able to be successful, and we examine that and study it there. Spend a lot of time in QuickBooks and understanding how to keep your books and accounts receivables and items like that. The kind of capstone class is the business and marketing plan. The business and marketing plan class, really, this is where you will develop the plan. You will develop it from its executive summary through its final conclusions, and it will contain the marketing components, the management components, the operational components, and it blends it all together, and that plan is then entered into the Inland Northwest Business Plan competition, where students have the opportunity to win up to $5,000. So it's a great program. It's designed for the average person to be able to take their idea, and you don't even have to have the idea when you come into class. We spend the first 4 weeks of the 105 class every day getting up and pitching different ideas of things. We want you to start creative thinking about business solutions. So the business plan competition is the end result as part of the class, and that leads into some of the stuff Avista is doing.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's a great segue. I think the education component is one piece of the ecosystem. We've identified a couple of challenge areas. I mean, when a student goes through the program, then they've traditionally been left to their own devices to either be successful or not. And there's two major challenges. One is funding or access to capital, and the other is ongoing support to help them be successful and sustainable. So to address the capital challenge, what Avista's done is put together a $500,000 microenterprise loan fund for any student that completes the program. They have the opportunity to apply for up to $15,000 in loan money that will help give them a little bit of cash flow runway to get their business up and running. And then in addition to that, we're working to build kind of a network of mentors and advisors, a network of service providers like marketing companies, law professionals, accounting folks, to help support and provide the service that entrepreneurs need to be successful and sustainable for the long haul. Because bottom line, we want them to be successful. We want them to grow in terms of employee base, and that's what economic development's all about.
Well, what a fantastic and timely program this is. So for individuals who are watching the program that may be interested in enrolling, how would they go about contacting either Mike or Gayne, and how would they then get into the program, and what's the schedule for the program in terms of the time of day?
Okay, that's a good question, Joe. The program actually starts with our first class of spring semester. There's still an opportunity to enroll. And if I could go back just a minute, one of the things that differentiates our program from the program at Spokane Community College is that at Spokane Community College, they all enter together as in what we call a cohort. They take all the classes. We wanted to design our program so a student that was already employed, that just didn't have time to spend an entire semester taking a full load of classes, they could come in and take 3 credits, they could take 6 credits, they could take it over the course of a couple semesters. And so the one requirement we do have, and Mike touched on it, is they will have to take the Entrepreneurship 105 as kind of the beginning course. It starts the creative juices flowing, it gets them to understand a little about their own personality, gets them to understand, do they have what it takes to be a small business. But the registration process, if they are interested in the program, I encourage them to call Mike directly. And Mike, I don't have your phone number. You'll have to jump in with that, and he can get you in the right direction.
It's 208-769-3247. Again, that's 208-769-3247, or maallen@nic.edu. You can also go onto the nic.edu website, click on programs, and click on entrepreneurship, and that will get you to our page.
It's the same information.
Gayne, you talked about that course at 105 that kind of establishes where a student is at and the whole that makes up the person and how they go about approaching this
Yes,
program. You know, one of the big things that we find here with students at NIC is their desire to be of service to the community. And in this month's edition of the program from Philippe Val's graphic design students,
From a veteran's point of view, Footsteps is an opportunity to increase awareness about some of the issues that veterans have post-deployment or post-conflict. A lot of people don't understand the hardships that veterans face, the physical hardships, the psychological and emotional hardships, and the long-lasting effect of those hardships. So Footsteps is an opportunity to explain those hardships and the ongoing effect of those hardships for the veterans.
Footsteps is essential for students here at NIC because it's put on by students, but most of the participants are students as well. And as you go through the exhibit, you experience what it may be like to experience those problems as someone who is experiencing those injustices.
Going through this program, I have seen a lot of things that I was not previously aware of, and it really opened my eyes.
It's in all parts of our culture and other cultures.
I believe that it's an eye-opening experience and everyone should come do it.
My father was paid a fee for me. I work from when the sun comes up to 1 in the morning, 7 days a week.
One of the things that this exhibit does, and like seeing stuff that we can relate to in our own community, brings it more to the forefront to deal with, because a lot of these things happen, you think happens elsewhere, or you think doesn't affect you, but when you go through it in a group, you can see that different people are affected by different ones.
If we can each do one little thing, and that might just be being part of one of the clubs here on campus, or choosing where we shop more wisely, just one little thing to stop perpetuating those issues of social injustice and oppression.
If you know someone who's going through it and they're not talking, speak up for them because they might not have a voice for themselves.
Well, in this second segment, we've got Rex Fairfield, who is the director of our ABE GED program. And ABE is Adult Basic Education, and it's one of the 5 primary missions of a community college, including transfer, career and technical education, workforce development, and continuing education. So Rex, talk to us a little bit about what ABE is and how that relates to GED as well.
Well, thank you for having me today. Adult Basic Education provides instruction to students that are anywhere from 16 years of age to our oldest student currently is 81 years of age. And those students are operating at a level less than a high school diploma, and so our 12th grade education. So we can serve them. They're residents of the state of Idaho, and they're many times are in need of not only the GED, but are just brushing up to prepare for the workforce or further education through North Idaho College, whether that be professional technical education or the academic transfer side.
You've had some changes, though, in how they go about that, because there had been kind of a program that was kind of in place, everybody kind of knew what it was, and then there have been some changes that you folks have been dealing with.
Exactly. About 2 years ago, it was determined that they were going to beef up the GED. And 2014 GED is going to roll out in January. The current GED that we've been operating under since 2002 is coming to a close December 18th. If a test taker or candidate is not completed with all 5 of the current GED tests, those tests will be shredded and they have to start all over with the new computerized version, which is coming out in January. So it's a consequence of we now have common core standards in adult basic education that are college and career readiness associated. So we are no longer just status quo with the GED, but we're to prepare the students to go farther. And so therefore the GED has been beefed up in its expectations, And we can, with certainty, after an individual completes the GED, make assumptions as to success with regards to college and actually work readiness. So it's now going to be computerized. All of the scheduling, registration, transcripts, everything will be done online, so the students can access it 24/7 by means of their computer, their smartphone, their tablet. And so we never know from one day to the next who's going to show up and how many are going to show up. Pearson VUE is the agency that has been selected to approve all of the sites for GED. Currently, our Coeur d'Alene Center has been approved to start in January. We're working diligently. We've written grants to try to see if we can obtain additional funds to get the Sandpoint Center reorganized, construction done, to get it a Pearson VUE approved site so we can also provide GED testing up there for the Bonner and Boundary students to make it more accessible so they don't have to drive all the way down here.
And Rex, approximately how many students do you serve each year? And do you have a sense of the magnitude of students who are not prepared to do college level work?
Absolutely. There's many interesting statistics right now. The unemployment rate from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics indicates that an individual without a high school diploma makes up about 12.7% of the unemployment rolls. Mm-hmm. An individual with a high school diploma makes up about 8.3% currently. And then once we start some additional training post-secondary after the high school diploma, that drops to 7.7, and then with a degree it drops down to below 6%. So there is a need. The statistics for the demographic information with regards to the GED indicates there's a little under 6,000 individuals in Idaho that do not have a high school diploma. So that becomes our target population that we're trying to go after to meet that need. So there is a vast need in the state of Idaho. We're making gains on it. And now with the increased need of people that are skilled in the workplace, there's estimations that there are 4 million jobs in America right now that are available that don't have the skilled workforce for it. And there's 40 million nationwide that need the GED or a high school diploma. So the Office of Vocational Adult Education, in conjunction with the state PTE department, have really aggressively gone after trying to increase the standards for what we instruct through the adult basic education and the GED testing itself.
I know that in years past, if you looked at GED students coming into North Idaho College as if they were all from one high school, they would be the largest contributing high school or single source to students for North Idaho College. Do you see that continuing obviously now with the need?
Yes, most certainly. Hopefully we can increase that through adult basic education, the actual instructional component that we've had. Last year we served 932 students in the 5 northern counties. Wow. Additionally, we served 719 students so far this year in obtaining their GED. I should point out that to prepare for this influx of students trying to get the old test completed, Mary Edwards has worked diligently trying to expand hours and make it available to the students. And in the last 2 months, out of that 719 students, we've served over 300 of those. Wow. So we are actually providing 315 individual tests each week and have been since November to try to accommodate the need.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Rex, why don't you walk us through the process? In other words, if I'm an individual in Idaho that does not have a high school diploma or recognizes that I need some adult basic education, how do I get integrated into your program?
You bet. For those students that believe they have the skill sets that are required to successfully complete the GED, and or additionally we have some students that are homeschooled. The only way they get credentialed in the state of Idaho is by obtaining the GED. So if they're prepared, they can go right in and take the test just by going online, looking at the 2014 GED website, and they can actually proceed directly into the testing aspect of our program. For those students, and this is the way we highly recommend it, that are questionable as to what their skill sets are, we ask them to come to one of our ABE orientations at any of our centers in Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, Silver Valley, St. Mary's. We also provide services in Kootenai County Juvenile Detention Center and right here in Coeur d'Alene. So we ask the students to come to that. It's free. We provide some tests of adult basic education to determine their skill sets. And once we identify those, if they have the skills to pass, we'll tell them, go on ahead and get it done. Otherwise, we recommend that they participate in one of our instructional classes at any of our sites, and we get them plugged in for free instruction, and all the instructional materials, curriculum is also at no cost.
Awesome. Very good. Wow, you know, it's a process and it's a commitment, but we really appreciate you and your staff being there, because it is providing a very necessary service in the community and in the 5 northern counties. It's really helping folks be able to go out and get those jobs and have those skills. So thank
Absolutely. We have a great team, and they work very, very hard to meet the needs of the students.
Well, Rex, how long have you been at North Idaho College?
Little over 15 years.
And before that?
Before that, I was a vocational rehabilitation counselor for the state of Idaho.
Excellent. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being here today. And more importantly, I want to thank you on behalf of the citizens of Idaho for what you do for our students in terms of them getting them ready for either further education or going into the world of work. And for all of you out there, thank you very much for tuning in today to view North Idaho Today and get an idea of what's happening at North Idaho College.